Right now, CEOs are trapped in a corner. We are officially in what the market is calling the year of proof. Boards are demanding hard, measurable ROI on the massive AI investments they made over the last 2 years. Margins are squeezing, inflation is sticky, and organizational change fatigue is at an absolute all-time high. But behind closed door, there are silent crises brewing that nobody talks about on the main stages of conferences. It is the rapid rise of the insecure defensive leader. Instead of adapting to what they don't know, we are seeing a massive wave of executives, predominantly male, high ego leaders closing ranks because they are terrified of looking incompetent and they are rejecting critical, constructive feedback from their own internal teams. They get defensive, they build walls, and then they turn to a toxic echo chamber of peer executives for validation. They look at other CEOs in their network and they copy the loudest, most aggressive prick in the room. They mistake raw arrogance and brash persona for actual strategic competence. The result? Total organizational blindness. If you're listening to Lena Speaks, chances are you already know leadership is not just about having a title. It's about what happens when the room gets hard, trust is low, when communication breaks down, and when the right people are in the wrong seats, or where everybody knows something needs to change, but no one knows how to move it forward. That's the work that I do. I'm Lena Morris, founder and CEO of Authentic Encounters. I work with executives, leadership teams, and organizations to uncover leadership culture and people issues that are quietly costing them their performance, trust, and results. At Authentic Encounters, we don't just train leaders, we help change how leadership actually happens. So if you're listening and thinking, Lena, you just described my organization, then maybe it's time for us to talk. Book a complimentary leadership clarity call with me. The link is in my description and in the bio. Let's chat to find the real issues and determine what change needs to happen. Authentic Encounters, from training to transformation. Now let's get back to the conversation. In today's solo episode, we are pulling back the curtain on the insecure CEO echo chamber, and we are going to look at why the macro pressures of 2026 are driving this fragile behavior, how it actually actively sabotages culture, how to unmask authority when the stakes are this high. Welcome back to the show. Let's dive in. Let's be honest for a second and look at the root cause here, because empathy and candor go hand in hand. The pressure on the C-suite right now, it is brutal. For the past 2 years, CEOs have been celebrated for just saying the words artificial intelligence or launching a few pilot programs. But today, the game has completely changed. The board doesn't want to hear about pilots anymore. They want to see margin expansion. They want to see top line growth. And here is the dirty secret of 2026. Most CEOs do not deeply understand how agentic AI workflows actually work. They don't understand how autonomous software agents are reconstructing workflows or how it affects data governance. But because society and corporate culture expect the CEO to be the smartest person in the room, this massive knowledge gap creates intense, unspoken fear. When you combine that tech panic with the fact that the average CEO tenure has plummeted to just about 4.5 years, you get a recipe for extreme anxiety. Leaders feel like they have zero runway to make a mistake. So what happens when a high ego person gets scared? They don't say, hey, I don't know the answer to that. Let's learn together. No, they overcompensate. They put on armor. Their insecurity triggers are immediate survival mechanism of defense. Now let's talk about how this insecurity manifests out in the open, because this is the exact pattern I'm seeing happen across multiple industries right now. When an insecure leader feels exposed inside their own building, they stop listening to the experts they hired. They start viewing a warning from the chief information officer or a reality check from a vice president as a personal attack on their authority. So where do they go for advice? They look outward to their peer networks. They jump on the text threads, golf courses, and private dinners with other CEOs. But instead of finding valuable strategic counsel, they fall into the ego echo chamber. They see a fellow executive who acts like a complete prick. Someone who speaks with absolute, unyielding uncertainty, knocks down his employees, pushes aggressive return to office mandates without data, and pretends he has everything figured out. The insecure CEO looks at the brash, aggressive persona and thinks, that's what strength looks like right now. I need to be dominant. I need to be in control and control the narrative. It is the classic case of fragile leaders mirroring toxic behaviors to mask their own internal panic. They literally trade solid data-driven insight from their own teams for superficial chest-beating confidence of a peer who is just as terrified as they are. And what is the cost of this? It's massive. When a leader stops taking feedback and retreats into an ego echo chamber, the rest of the organization enters what I call survival mode. Your best VPs and directors stop pitching innovative ideas because they don't want to get their heads bitten off. Your teams start hiding failures instead of fixing them. Shadow AI grows out of control because nobody wants to admit to their defensive boss that the official tools aren't working. By refusing to look vulnerable, the insecure CEO creates the exact corporate failure they were terrified of in the first place. So how do we fix this? If you are a leader listening to this right now, how do you break out of the insecure echo chamber? It starts by recognizing that in 2026, real executive authority doesn't come from pretending you have it all together. The world is moving too fast for any single human brain to keep up with the rate of technology and macroeconomic change that's happening. Real strength is having the internal security to look at your team and say, I don't know the exact answer to this workflow shift. I don't fully understand the risk here. This is why I hired you. Give me your unvarnished, brutal feedback so we can make the right call. This isn't weakness. This is high utility leadership. We need to stop rewarding the prick persona in corporate spaces. True resilience isn't about being the loudest voice. It's about creating an agile operating model where the best ideal wins, regardless of whose ego gets hurt. And if you are a VP, a director, or manager listening to this, and you are currently trying to navigate a defensive, insecure boss, pay attention. You cannot fix their insecurity by fighting their ego directly. You have to reframe your feedback. Frame your insights as a way to protect their narrative and their standing with the board. But if they completely close ranks and refuse to listen, start planning your exit. Don't let their blind spots become your career burnout. Before I sign off today, I want to pose a question to everyone watching and listening, and I want you to be completely honest in the comment sections below. Have you ever watched an executive reject a brilliant strategy simply because they didn't come up with it themselves? How did that play out for your team's morale? And how did you handle it? Drop your thoughts below. Let's turn the comment section into a real transparent sandbox for what is actually happening in the corporate trenches today. If you found value in this raw breakdown, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, leave a review, and share this episode with one colleague or peer leader who needs to hear this reality check today. Thank you for tuning in. Lead with security, drop the mask, and I'll see you on the next episode of Lena Speaks.